Hi, it's Gabriela Andrade with Don't Quote Me on That, a podcast by Something Stupid and Fun.
If someone walks by, they're probably going to think I am crazy. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Don't Quote Me on That day. Welcome to another episode of Don't Quote Me on That. I hope everyone had an amazing week, and I hope everyone had a really fun Sunday. And now it's time for us to do what we do on Sundays. We catch up, we debrief, we talk about being a teenage girl. I am at a library, so we're going to see how this goes because I kind of need to whisper, but I'm also podcasting, which I didn't think about. I didn't think this through. I don't even know if I'm allowed to be recording right now, if I'm allowed to be recording here. I hope no one comes and kicks me out of here. I'm scared. I'm scared someone's going to come and tell me I need to stop recording, but I'm just going to do it until someone comes and tells me to stop. Basically, I am at the Boston Public Library. I don't know why I'm at the Boston Public Library. My friends kind of dragged me here. They were like, let's be vibey, let's be cool, let's go to the public library and just hang out and do homework. They actually have to do schoolwork and they actually have some homework and quizzes and whatever. I don't. I finished my schoolwork. I do have a quiz on Monday. I should probably get started on that, but that kind of seems like a Sunday problem to me. So for right now, podcasting, they were like, please come, and I kind of didn't have anything else to do, so I was like, let me go to the library and let me podcast. I don't know if I'm allowed to podcast or film or be talking at the library, so I'm kind of whispering. I really hope the microphone is picking up on this. I have a new microphone, so I don't know, I'm kind of freaking out here. There's a lot of things going on right now, guys. There's something important we need to talk about. You guys really miss the vlogs. You guys really miss my weekly vlogs. And listen, I miss them. I miss making them. I love making the weekly vlogs. I think it's something really cool to do. I just love making weekly vlogs. So I want to bring them back. But I'm also doing the podcast and the vlogs. It's a lot for me to do. But I was like, why don't we just mix them together? Throw them in a blender, see whatever the hell comes out. And I think something awesome can come out of it. So from now on, we're going to be doing I don't even know. I am at a library, so you can already guess where this is going. High school and school. Oh, freaking annoying. So yeah, we're going to be talking about high school because high school is a very weird place. And it's also the same concept, but it's very different for everyone. And I'm telling you this because I went to 3 different schools growing up. School in Columbia, school in Miami, and then boarding school in Connecticut. So context, if you're here and if you're new for the first time, hi, my name is Gabriela. I am 20. I go to college in Boston, but I'm from Columbia. As you can see from what I just explained, I grew up in Columbia, moved to Miami, went to school there for 2 years, and then went to boarding school in Connecticut, and now I'm in college in Boston, and I have a podcast, and this is my Sunday podcast. So welcome. Hi. I hope you like the podcast. Okay, there's people walking by. Anyways, so if you're new here, hi. And if you're old here, welcome back. You already know what we're doing here. So high school is very weird. And I grew up in Colombia, so I grew up watching American movies, and I grew up watching the mean girl, the girl that gets bullied, and then the jerks that played football, and the cheerleader, and then the theater kids, whatever the hell high school movies look like. I thought high school was going to be like that, and then I moved to the US, and it was not like that. It wasn't like that. It was worse. It was actually so much worse. I did not like high school at all in Miami. I don't know, maybe it was just the school I went to. I'm not going to say the name of the school I went to. If you know me, you know where I went to school. It's not a secret. I just don't want to portray the school as a bad place, but just the people. I don't know if it was the school. I don't know if it was the people, but I did not like going to school in Miami. It was actually awful. It was so awful. I got bullied a lot for not having designer shoes when I was 13 years old. Yeah. Absolutely insane. I thought it was kind of crazy. I came back home and I was like, Mom, I need to buy Vans. And she was like, why? And I was like, well, because I'm getting bullied because I don't have Gucci shoes, but I really don't want Gucci shoes, so let's just get Vans. So I stopped getting bullied for wearing my Converse. So I don't know, it was just not a cool school, or at least just not cool kids, and I didn't like that at all. So I didn't like school in Miami, and it wasn't like the school I pictured in the movies. It really wasn't. So if you're a movie producer, you guys do a terrible job at capturing what high school actually looks like in the United States, because it doesn't look like that. It's not like that. And people back in Colombia would ask me, is school really like that? And I was like, no, it's not. It's not like that. And then I don't know if I had a normal high school experience, because I did freshman year of high school in Miami. And that's when I was like, this shit sucks. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. Bye-bye. And I went to boarding school. So I had a whack high school experience in a way. It was super fun because it was boarding school. It kind of felt like a mini college. You lived with your friends. It was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of pressure. It was also like we needed to do work. And I can get into so many stories of what happened in high school and in boarding school because boarding school was crazy. So I have a lot of fun and crazy boarding school stories that I'll eventually end up sharing. But the gist of it is that boarding school was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of pressure because it was like you need to get into a good college, and it was like very academically rigorous. It was very hard, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. School put a lot of pressure on me. I was terrified to take the SATs. I have a lot of testing anxiety, a lot of testing anxiety. Like I couldn't even sit through a test without like looking at the time, sweating. And when I freak out in the middle of a test and I'm doing like a math problem, say, and it's like 200 plus 100, because of my anxiety, I start like doubting my like intelligence, and I'm like, do you even know how to do 100 plus 200? No. So let me just plug that into the calculator real quick. Like, I'm not kidding. I will do in the calculator like the dumbest math that I know how to do. It's not that I don't know how to do it. It's just with the time pressure, knowing that this quiz or this exam is worth like 30 or 40% of my grade. And I'm like freaking out about it. I need to do well. There's the time pressure, everything. I'm like, let me just to make sure that I'm not like messing it up because of how anxious I am. So I literally just go back to the calculator for like dumbest math. And when we don't have a calculator, I will write it out. So I have a lot of testing anxiety, and I feel like that came a lot with high school because I was like, I need to get A's on all my tests so that I get into college. Like, hello. Like, I thought, like, you know, you need to have straight A's to get into college, and that's not true. So you do not need, like, straight A's to get into college. I'm not saying don't try your hardest not to get straight A's. Like, try your hardest, you know, get good grades. But I thought that I needed straight A's to get into college. So I was like, let me try my hardest to get straight A's. And I was pushing myself a lot to get as many like A's as possible. So I put a lot of pressure on myself, a lot of anxiety. And that testing anxiety was just insane. When the SATs came around, guys, I didn't take the SATs. That's the truth. I didn't take the SATs because it happened right during COVID. So like, thank God, like, I'm going to take that back. Not thank God for COVID, but like thank God for what happened with the school system. And all the schools went to test optional. So every school was like, you don't have to send in your SATs because everything's closed right now because of COVID. So everything's test optional. I didn't take the SATs because of that. As soon as every single school was like, it's test optional, I was like, I'm not taking the exam. Like, if I don't have to take it, I refuse to take it. I would literally, one time I had a practice test. I started crying before it. I almost yacked before it. I have, like, the worst anxiety when it comes to taking a test. So as soon as they were like, you don't need to take it, I didn't take it. So I applied to college with no test. No test. Only my grades from high school. So thank God I, like, crammed in high school because that paid off. And, like, that was what I basically applied to college with. And I also applied with my essay, which is pretty fire. One day I'm going to read my essay to you guys because it's actually a pretty cool essay. So honestly, now that I'm saying it out loud, I didn't really have the most normal high school experience. Like, school in Columbia, 1 year in Miami, got bullied, left, boarding school, a lot of academic pressure. And now college, which I did in 3 years because I'm tired of school. So I was like, peace out. I don't want to do school anymore. So I did college in 3 years, and mic drop. Like, I'm leaving in 9 months. I don't want to do school anymore, which is ironic that I'm sitting in the floor of a library, but I'm not doing work because I'm actually so tired from like school because high school drained me. I put myself through so much in high school. Unnecessary stuff too. Like fights with friends that you don't even need to worry about because they don't matter later on in life. Or stupid boys that make you cry and you don't sleep and then you do bad on your quiz. And where are they now? I don't even know. So it doesn't really matter. And so spent a lot of time doing that. And then I also really, really, really crammed because I really wanted to get into a good school, which I think I did. And I'm proud of that. But like, I still could have like not maybe given myself so much anxiety. I could have definitely given myself way less anxiety and just kind of been like, you don't need straight A's to get into college. Like, you're going to be fine. So definitely put a lot of pressure on myself. And my anxiety was really bad. There was times where I would throw up before quizzes, throw up before tests, because I literally thought, I was like, if you fail this, you're not going to get into college. And my biggest fear was just not getting into a good school. Because, you know, like, immigrant parents, we're doing the best we can to, like, bring you to the U.S., the land of opportunity, get you that education. I was like, I need to do really well. You know, like, that is my way of paying them back and saying, like, thank you. Like, just getting fire grades. That might not happen to everyone. I don't know if that's just me who, like, put a lot of pressure on themselves, because, like, it was like your way of repaying your parents for all the work that they did. But it was definitely stressful, and it was also a very toxic environment. I did not like high school. I didn't like high school. I was excited to graduate, but also very sad to graduate, because at the same time, I knew that I was going to hate college, and I knew because I was going to put myself more academic pressure, and that's why I didn't want to go to college, which I did. Like, I did. That's why I didn't want to go to college, because I was like, if I go to college, I'm just going to put more pressure on myself. And I feel like a lot of the times we tell ourselves, like, oh, we need to prove our intelligence, or, like, prove that I can get the grades, prove that I can do all these things. At least for me, it was like my grades show me, like, how well I'm doing compared to other people, you know? Like, I got an A, you got a B. Well, I'm a little ahead, you know? I don't know if I'm crazy, but that's what I would think. I was like, I'm doing better. And that's why I think high school is such a toxic place, because it makes a scale for kids to compare themselves to each other and be like, I'm doing better than you, or no, I'm doing worse, and you feel bad. So then you're trying your hardest, or you push yourself way more than you need to. And at the end of the day, getting a C or getting an A, like, the person with the C could be making more money in the future than the person with the A, and could have a better company and be more successful than the person with the A. So your grades really, really, really don't matter that much at the end of the day. Like, I'm not saying don't get good grades, because good grades are the representation of a lot of studying, and studying does pay off later in the future. Like, don't get me wrong, kids, study. Like, you know, go to class, do the thing, pay attention. It does pay off, and you will use it in the future, I promise. There's certain things that you won't, like chemistry and biology, unless you're studying chemistry and biology. The only thing you need to know is the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That is everything. Like, that is all you remember. And maybe that, like, it's hydrogen and helium and lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon. You know, that's all you need to know for biology and for chemistry. I'm not even kidding. So there's things that you don't use, but there's things that you do use. So do pay attention, do learn. There's a lot of power in knowledge. So do learn, but your grades don't determine if you're more or less successful than someone, and if you're gonna be more or less successful than someone. They're just a number, and the number doesn't mean that much. But they've literally told us and trained us to think that the number means so much, and that our grades are this, like, super, super important thing that we need to get. But it's not, and that's why I think it's toxic, because they were literally like, we're gonna give you guys all numbers to compare yourselves. What? Like, we're literally gonna make a scale so we can compare all of you bitches and, like, figure out who's better and who's not. That is so toxic. Like, how is that not toxic? Of course it's super toxic. So I, for one, that's why I think it's a little toxic that they created this, like, scale. And that's why, like, the SAT, same thing. Like, standardized tests. They all want to make us, like, a certain level of, like, standard for learning. And it's like, some people learn in different ways. Some people prefer to look at things. Some people like listening. Some people prefer reading. Everybody learns in a different way. And that's why when I created Don't Quote Me on That, and that's why when I created Something Stupid and Fun, I was like, I want to give everyone something based on the type of learning they have. And that's why I have a blog post. That's why I have a podcast. That's why I have a video, so that the people that love to listen, they can listen. The people that love to watch, they can watch. The people that love to read, they can read, because everybody learns in a different way. But high school and even college, it's very like, we're going to make literally a scale and put you guys all at a neutral, and then see who's, like, better and worse, and, like, is an outlier from that, like, standard. How are we making a standard if everybody learns a different way and everybody is different? And that really pisses me off. That really pisses me off, because it's like, aren't we supposed to be teaching kids to be one in a million? Like, to be special, to be different, to stand out, but you want them to get to the average, and you want them to be within that scale. What? It makes no sense. If you want to be the 1%, you can't be acting the same way the freaking 99% of the people are acting like, because then you're just going to be part of the 99%. You need to be literally doing like quite the opposite, and you need to be weird. You don't think it's weird that I am literally sitting in the floor of a public library right now recording a podcast by myself and everybody's walking by and looking at me? Probably, but one day when I have a podcast to actually a lot of people listen to, hopefully, I'm going to be like, okay, she's not so awkward anymore. The girl that sat on the floor of a library isn't so awkward anymore. Once this podcast grows a little bit more, let's just be honest, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So yeah, high school is definitely very weird, but I also promise that it is so much fun and that you're going to miss it. Freshman year of college, I missed high school so much. I literally looked at pictures of like high school all the time and I was like, holy crap, why did I graduate? Like, I wanted to go back. I was like, is there any way that I could repeat my senior year of high school and like just stay there one more year? Because you're still a kid. You don't have serious responsibilities. Like, you're not really like, paying for your life. You still have parents who are taking care of you, hopefully. So you're still like protected because you're still a kid. You're not 18, so you're not really an adult yet. So you're still a minor. Your parents are still watching over you. But your biggest responsibility is just homework and showing up to practice. So I think you can do your homework and show up to practice and then still have fun and enjoy high school. Have so much fun in high school and enjoy it because it goes by really, really quickly. You think 4 years is a lot of time, and it's not. It goes by like that. I feel like I started college yesterday, and I'm graduating in 9 months, bro. I'm actually kind of freaking out about that too, because now I never conquered college or high school. I feel like I never really got a grasp of it, and like, I feel like I never got a good grip of it, and like, got a hang of it. And now I'm supposed to just go to the real world and like be an actual adult and like have actual responsibilities and like find an actual job. And I'm kind of freaking out about that. So trust me, enjoy high school. As whack as it is, because it is kind of whack, enjoy it. But show up to school and do your work. Like, I have so many lessons. I was like, do this, but not this, but do this, but this. Your grades are literally just a number. Learn, because high school is very important and you should learn things in high school. Don't give yourself unnecessary academic pressure. Your grade is just a number. I'm not saying flunk your classes and don't show up and get C's and D's and F's and fail out of high school. No. If that's what you got out of it, then you need to go back and like pay attention and take notes. What I'm saying is that your grades are just a scale that the school created to see how well or not you're doing compared to other kids. That doesn't determine how successful or not you're going to be at life. So just because you did bad on an exam doesn't mean that you're not going to get your dream job later on or that you're not going to get into your dream college. Like, you'll be fine. And I don't know if everyone knows that they're going to be fine. And everyone's like, yeah, I'm not worried. But I freaked out about it. I was like, am I going to get into a good school? Am I going to get into college? Am I going to get a fire job? Like, are my grades good enough? And yes, I promise you they are good enough. I promise you are good enough. I promise you are academically and intellectually good enough. But it is very, very whack. And I did go to boarding school. And boarding school was whack on top of whack. So my butt is kind of hurting from sitting on the floor. So I think I'm going to go home now. And I'm going to tell you guys a boarding school experience because these deserve to be shared with the world. I can't hold all of this knowledge within me and not share it. So let's go home. In the car ride, I will think about what story time I'm going to tell. And then we'll talk about boarding school and my high school experience. I just got back home. There was actually so much traffic getting here. And I'm starving, so I'm going to make lunch. What do you guys do on a Friday night? Because here I am sitting in my bedroom. I just took the most amazing shower. I washed my hair. I moisturized every inch of my body. And now I am about to tell you guys my boarding school experience, or more just like what my boarding school was like and kind of why it was kind of whack. but it was also so much fun. I went to boarding school in Connecticut, so that adds an extra layer of crazy because you had the snow and you had to deal with that factor. So that was part of it. Boarding school was in a very small town in the middle of nowhere in Connecticut. There was literally one single street. There was literally one street, 4 restaurants, and that was it. And that's all you could do. There was one nail place where I would go get my nails done, and that was literally it. There was like a coffee shop and there was a hair salon. I never tried it. I never went there. But basically, yeah, it was in the middle of nowhere, super small, which also made it really cool. The entrance of the campus was literally 5 minutes away from town. So you would just walk into town on the weekends after class, and it was so much fun because the school considered town part of campus. So you were allowed to be there all the time. You were allowed to hang out. And that was actually a really cool fact. It was right next to the Hudson River. That was also beautiful. Campus was really pretty, and I did rowing. So fun fact, I did rowing because of the Hudson River. I got introduced to rowing at boarding school, and I really liked it. It was a fun sport, but it was a very hard sport. So my boarding school was founded like before Second World War or something like that. It's a very old school, and basically back then they would make kids do work, like labor work. Literally, they would make them like pick up leaves and like clean dishes or like sweep the snow. I don't know, things like that. And they've carried on that tradition, God knows why. So at my boarding school, whenever you got in trouble, you would need to pay it off with like work hours. So you would literally need to work, whether it was like washing dishes or cleaning the leaves or sorting out mail, whatever it was, you needed to work like actual hours to like pay off your punishment and like pay off whatever it was. So you can get in trouble for like so many things. You get in trouble for showing up late to check in. So if you were a freshman or a sophomore, you needed to check in at like 10:30, and then if you were a junior or senior, you could check in at 11 into your dorm. That meant you couldn't leave your dorm after that, and the doors got locked with your key card, so no one else could get into that dorm. So that was check-in. And if you were late to check-in, you would get hours. You would get usually like 2 hours of something like that. I had so many hours for being late to check-in because like 10:30, come on, like if you're hanging out with a guy, like a lot of the times I had to rush, and I had an alarm set to like remind me to like go back to my dorm. And if you were in the middle of like hanging out with someone, it was very awkward when the alarm buzzed if they were like an upperclassman. But that was that. So you need to be in to check in or you would get in trouble. You also couldn't be out of like certain campus areas after a certain time. So if you got caught out of bounds, you would also get hours. If you were a girl or a boy and you got caught in the opposite gender's room, you were getting like 16 or 20 hours. So the school was co-ed, which means boys and girls. So obviously, like, you couldn't go into the boys' rooms, but if you did and you got caught, that was like 16 or 20 hours. I never got caught, thank God. But no, seriously, I would have had so many hours. I would have had a lot of hours. So you could basically get in trouble for like the dumbest things. You could also get in trouble if you were hanging out with a boy during study hall. So study hall was from 8 to 10 p.m. You needed to be doing your homework. You needed to be studying. But you know what? A lot of the times I finished my homework before that. So during 8 to 10, I was just like hanging out with friends or something. And even if it was just with your friends and you were just like walking around, they'd be like, go back to your dorm and like do homework. And I was like, bro, like I'm a good student. I already finished my homework. That is not my problem. That like you have study hall hours for the lazy people. I finished my work. But anyways, you still had to stay in your dorm or be doing something. But we figured out ways to like just hang out during those hours. So you could definitely get into trouble for a lot of things. And yeah, that's how you would pay them off. They had like working hours, which I think is crazy. The school was also religious. So we did have chapel 3 times a week. And then on Sunday, it was like a mandatory 1 hour Sunday mass church at noon. If you didn't go, guess what happens? You're also getting hours. I will tell you guys so many boarding school stories, but I always basically got myself out of chapel. Like I would check in with your dean because your dean needed to like check you in. I would check in with my dean, and then there was a door in the back of the chapel right next to the bathroom. And then I would just pretend to go to the bathroom and sneak in out the back door and then just not go to mass. I can finally freely say that on video and not get in trouble and not get hours for posting a video saying that because I don't go to high school anymore. The food wasn't bad. Honestly, there was like the student center, which had a bunch of snacks, and they did like grilled cheeses and like French fries and like Philly cheesesteaks. The problem was that I gained a bunch of weight in boarding school because the food was good, but it was also junk food. And I was doing a lot of sports, and it was also cold, so you're burning a lot more calories. I think just at this point, I'm like just justifying the amount of weight that I gained at boarding school by eating so much. You know, the freshman 15, I did that in high school though. So, and except I didn't do 15, I did 30. But point is, food wasn't bad, food was good. The dining hall had a lot of options. It was honestly great. No complaints when it comes to food. It was weird because your teachers were still your teachers, but they were also sometimes your dorm parents. So those were the teachers that lived in the dorms and they were just like supervising. And sometimes they were cool. So it was like, you're a cool dorm parent, but you're my teacher. So like, I also need to like turn in assignments to you and like you're grading me. So that was like a funny relationship to have with your teachers, have them be like sort of your parents in a way because they're your dorm parents, and you would hang out with them and you would like get close to them, but they were also like grading you and like failing you in your classes. So it was a love-hate relationship with teachers. There was a bunch of boarding school traditions that I absolutely love. There's this rock where juniors would go every single year to like draw the number of the year they're graduating in. So when it was my rock day, we went up. I actually missed rock day, so I can't even speak on that. I wasn't at boarding school. I was like in Miami. I don't remember why I was in Miami, but I missed rock day, which is very sad. I missed rock day, but the point is at rock day, you would go up and draw 21 because that's the year I graduated from high school. So we drew the 21. I didn't draw it, but they drew the 21. And then there was also prom, which was a lot of fun, except if I can give you just one advice, don't go to prom with anyone because you don't know if you're going to like them or not after high school, and then you're going to have pictures with them as your prom date. So just don't go to prom with anyone. Go with your friends because you're not going to regret any pictures later. Like any other school, we had to do sports or some sort of activity. So like I said, I did rowing, but I also did swimming, which I quit because I literally couldn't handle it with the snow and the pool. I would have to go to practice and then my hair would freeze up. Literally, it had crystals in it. Crystals. And then I would walking back and forth between the dining hall and the gym area, crystals in my hair. I got sick. I was like, nope. And I quit swimming. I also did like yoga and like arts and crafts because I did not want to do a sport in the winter because it was cold. So I was like, let me just do yoga and arts and crafts. Things that were indoors. That was honestly the best time that I had because I didn't have to worry about showing to practice or getting ahead and making it to varsity. I was also never an athlete. Like I always did sports, but I was always like pushing myself to make it to varsity, or I was always just in JV because I was not, like I can't even do a push-up to this day. Do not judge me if I see one comment about me not being able to do a push-up. Like, sorry. Like, not all of us were built to be able to do push-ups. Some of us just can't do a push-up. This is something that probably is going to send everyone into a straight coma, but we had Saturday classes, which I still don't know how I did that. I still don't know how I had Saturday classes. They were only half the day though. So if sometimes I had like a free period, I only had like one class. So it wasn't really that bad because Wednesdays we only had half the day. So Wednesdays half the day and then Saturdays half the day, and then Wednesdays and Saturdays, because it was half the day, the rest of the day was used for game days. So Wednesday and Saturday was competition days, and those were the days where you would go to other schools. Some schools were far. Sometimes the bus drive was like 4 hours to get to another school for a rowing competition, which if you know anything about rowing, it literally takes a minute to row, but it would take us 4 hours to get there. But the competition literally lasts like a minute. It was actually insane. Overall, I think boarding school was just so much fun. Like the idea of like living with your friends and hanging out with them 24/7, going to practice, going to the dining hall, doing homework together, being at the library. You also had like the same classes. It was literally just picture high school, but you live with your friends. Because college, sometimes people ask me like, is it like college? Yes, kind of. You are living with your friends, but college is a lot bigger. So like in college, you're really just hanging out with your friends. Here, you were hanging out with everyone 24/7. There was always just like groups of people. There were certain like spots on campus that were popular Saturday night and Friday night. So everyone would just go there and like hang out there. And there was 30, 40 people just like hanging out. And half of the school was there just like hanging out. Everyone knew each other. And it was honestly a cool place to be. It was still school, so you still had class the next day, which kind of absolutely sucks also. And it was very hard academically. So that's why there was a lot of like academic competition. The school was always pushing you to like get better grades, do better. And it did do a very good job at like making you an independent person. Like nowadays, I feel like I am a very independent person because of it. And I learned a lot of discipline while being a boarding school because no one at boarding school is like checking up on you, you know? Like no one's like, hey, have you done your homework? Did you go to practice? Did you go to class? Like you can miss class, you can miss practice, you can not do your homework, but you're gonna fail and you're gonna get kicked out. So it was really good in that sense, in the sense that it taught me like how to depend on myself and like how to look after myself and how to be very disciplined. But like I said, grades, like it was just very pressure, a lot of anxiety. That was probably the most anxious time of my life. That is actually when I had like my anxiety was at its peak. I was freaking out about college. I don't know if it was because I was at boarding school and because it was very stressful and it was a very like academically pressured environment, or just because I was freaking out about the concept of college itself. But that is when my anxiety was at its peak. Like my hair was falling out. I was breaking out everywhere. I was getting sick constantly, throwing up. I was very anxious. I've always struggled with a lot of anxiety. But the one thing that I always liked about boarding school was that I was never socially anxious there. Like I've always also struggled with social anxiety, but that kind of like came after a little bit. Boarding school was always a very safe space for me to just hang out with people, say hi, talk to them. I had really good friends, really good relationships. So it was very cool in that sense. But if you got in trouble, on Monday, there was an assembly with the entire school where they announced every single, not person that got in trouble, because they wouldn't say the name of the person, but they would say the incident that happened. So they would say like 2 freshmen got caught in each other's rooms, like a girl and a boy, which was called like illegal intervis. So they would be like a freshman boy and a freshman girl got caught illegaling, and because of it, they're getting 16 hours. And it was a small school, so everyone knew who it was, and everybody started looking at you and like clapping and like cheering. Again, thank God I never got any like case or like got anything announced, because I never got in trouble at school, because I never got caught really. But they would announce it in front of everyone. So every single Monday morning they were announcing it. So you did not want to get in trouble, because you were going to have to work physically, literally, and the entire school was going to clap and cheer you on once it got announced Monday morning. Also, absolutely no idea what happened to my voice between the library and right now, because it's gone. It's super raspy. I don't know what happened to it. It was raining. I think maybe I'm getting a cold or getting sick. I have a tea. I made tea. I'm like, I don't want to get sick. I really don't want to get sick. I have midterms coming up and I'm very stressed about them. So I really don't want to get sick. So as you can see, the anxiety remains even after high school. It's just at least not as bad, because now I understood that my grades are literally just a number that the school uses, but they don't represent how successful or not I'm going to be. And that is a very bad misconception that I had about grades in high school. I was like, grades equal how smart I am. Grades equal how successful I am going to be or not. Grades equal how good I'm doing or not. And I'm about to graduate from college, and let me tell you, nobody's going to look at your grades. Like, colleges are going to look at your grades, but it's not everything they look at. They look at your interview, they look at your essay, they look at so many other things that make you a whole-rounded individual. So it's not just your grades. So yes, colleges are going to look at them, and people are going to look at them like they're there for a reason, but they do not equal how smart you are. They do not equal how successful or not you're going to be. So if you have that misconception like me, and if you're like, I need to get good grades because if I don't, I'm not going to get into college, because if I don't, then that means I'm not smart enough, or because if I don't, that means I'm behind. No, it doesn't. It's literally just a number. Just because you got a C on one test, one quiz, one class does not mean overall, as a whole, in your whole academic journey, you're a failure and you're at a C level. It doesn't mean that. So don't stress over one single quiz. I definitely stressed over them. I am still stressing over them. I have a quiz on Monday and I really want to get an A on it. So I'm going to try my hardest to get an A. But if I get a B plus, if I get a C, if I get a whatever, it's fine. I tried my hardest. And the most important part is that I learned while I was studying. I know the material. Even if my testing anxiety got the best of me, because that happens most of the time. I do bad on tests, like not even because I don't know the stuff, just because I'm freaking out and sweating and my palms are sweaty and my leg is shaking and I'm like freaking out and literally have to do like 100 plus 200 on the calculator. So sometimes I don't even do that good on tests. But so because of that, I'm not doing well on tests. So the B that I got isn't even because I don't know the material or because I'm behind or because I'm not smart enough. It's just because I have testing anxiety and I can't take the test. So we all have our reasons, but the grades don't mean that. And I used to think that in high school, but it's just not true. All of this boarding school talk got me super nostalgic, and I have a picture on my nightstand with my best friends from boarding school at prom. And I'm just staring at it and I think it's so cute and I miss them. And I really do miss all of my friends from boarding school because I made really good friends from all over the world. I have friends from South Korea, from Egypt, from Canada, from South America. I have friends from all over the world. And that was also something really, really cool about boarding school. So I'm like an advocate of boarding school, although I do think it's kind of crazy and it has a bunch of like weird rules. There's definitely schools that are weirder than mine. My sister's school, they made her like turn in her phone before going to bed, which is like a whole nother level of crazy. They had a uniform. At least my boarding school didn't have a uniform. We could dress however we wanted to. Well, we couldn't. We had a dress code, but I dressed however I wanted to. That's the whole point. So we didn't have a dress code, basically. So yeah, there's other schools that are definitely like crazier, but at the end of the day, boarding school was so much fun. And so that was my high school experience, which was boarding school, and that was my boarding school. And that was like boarding school in a nutshell. But if you guys want to know like more boarding school experiences and like boarding school stories, oh my God, I have so many stories from boarding school and like crazy things that happened too. So if you guys want to know those stories, let me know. I'm very down to sharing a lot of those stories. So let me know. But high school is what it is at the end of the day. We all have different high school experiences, but we all have to go through high school and we're all going to get grades. The important thing is that we all remember that our grades do not define who we are and that it's just high school. It's going to be crazy. It's going to have its ups and downs. It's going to have its moments when you're laughing your ass off and you're having so much fun. And then there's going to be moments when you're absolutely miserable and having a panic attack and freaking out and just you don't know what to do with your life. So we're going to keep exploring all of those crazy moments of high school that we have and how to deal with academic pressures, how to deal with getting into college and school and tips and being productive. But I thought just sharing about a little bit of my high school experience would be a good start. And I feel like I should stop talking because I might wake up with like zero voice tomorrow. My voice is kind of starting to scare me. And I also don't know if this is just going to sound absolutely horrible for everyone listening on a podcast, but I don't know what happened to my voice. It just kind of disappeared. So I'm going to stop talking. We had a very busy and long day. So it's time for me to turn the lights off, watch a movie. I'm watching The Playlist, which is the story of the creator of Spotify. It's on Netflix. So if you don't know what to watch, that's a good TV show to watch. I'm going to go watch my TV show because I'm actually tired. So have an amazing night. Have an amazing Monday morning tomorrow. Have a great rest of your week. And I will see you all crazy heads next Sunday for another episode. And I will see you all next Sunday. And I'm seriously going to shut up and just start drinking my tea.